Yo, what's up, everybody? It's BTRBs of the Rebel. What I want to talk about is the legacy of Roy Jones Jr., the man who has had 73 fights in his career, has won 64 of them, 9 defeats, 46 knockouts. And this is amazing that we've come to this point in his career where he continues to keep fighting. He just came off a victory, 10-round decision. And a lot of people don't know Roy Jones. A lot of people don't know how great he was, put it that way. I think a lot of people, I think as time progresses, we forget how great he was. It's kind of like Kobe Bryant, his last few seasons in the league. He just wasn't the same guy, so people can't really, those who didn't live in that era or aren't historians per se, aren't people that keep up with it all the time, really won't know how good Kobe Bryant was. And it's the same thing with Roy Jones. There was a time where, it's just my personal opinion, where Roy Jones was the best athlete in the world. And that's just my personal opinion. And you're talking about a 90s that had Mike Tyson, a 90s that had Michael Jordan, a 90s that had Brett Favre winning 3 consecutive MVPs, that had Mark McGwire doing crazy stuff with, hitting home runs and things like that. So in my personal opinion, Roy Jones was at some point the best athlete in the world, let alone the best pound for pound boxer in the world. He was voted 90s boxer of the year, of the decade, and he probably was well on his way to being the 2000s boxer of the decade, and he could have held on to being the only man who's been fighter of the decade in 2 different decades, and just an all around great fighter, a fighter that a lot of people always talk about that he was never able to truly gain the requisite skills to be a fighter who fights late in his career, meaning he didn't really develop a jab. He didn't really develop certain things. He didn't really develop a defense that would help him as he got older, which is why you see a prime Bernard go against a prime Roy, and it's not, and Roy shut him out. It was a 12-round, unanimous decision for Roy Jones, and that's what Roy is able to do on basically to any fighter, because he fought James Toney, and we can always talk about what James Toney and the weight and all of that and the dehydration, and then there was rumored that he was sick heading into that fight as well. But the way Roy beat him, I don't think that there was a chance that no version of James Toney at his best could have beaten Roy Jones at his best. Roy was 1 and everyone else was number 2. And it was a far. He was by far the best boxer in the world, by a big distance, by a huge distance, in my opinion. There was a particular time where no fighter could have made the claim of being pound for pound other than Roy Jones. And I know if you watch in retrospect, you always see fighters come up. I believe Trinidad ended up supplanting him at some point when he beat De La Hoya. You watch Shane Mosley, they had him as the pound for pound best for a 2-year period. They had De La Hoya as the pound for pound best when De La Hoya beat Pernell Whitaker. It's amazing. In retrospect, the critics and all of that, and they always say, well, Roy was the best fighter in the 90s. Roy was, he was by far the best. I think even in his heyday, he was underappreciated because maybe of the competition that he fought. Maybe considering he had no rival. He didn't have a Hagler. He did not have a Hearns. He didn't have a Roberto Duran fight. The James Toney fight was supposed to be the fight that should have put him. It put him as pound for pound, but it was supposed to be the fight that he had a rival. He was supposed to have a guy who gave him something where he would have to dig in, where he would need more than just talent in order to do it, and it never really came that way. So for the first 50 fights of his career, he goes 49-1, and the only loss he had was him knocking out Montel Griffin with a late hit when Montel was on the ground already. So a lot of people don't understand just how great Roy Jones is. Roy Jones is just a phenomenal boxer, a Hall of Fame worthy boxer. At a particular time, maybe I think you can make the claim he's the most talented fighter of all time. Teddy Atlas actually said something that, you can make the claim that Roy is the fighter who has beaten the most fighters by the widest margin in the history of boxing. And that's in my opinion, is very true. He's been very dominant throughout his career. Obviously up until the second Tarver fight. Obviously, really up until the first Tarver fight. Even though he won it, that's when it was about over. So amazing run for Roy. Obviously, everyone wants him to retire. I'm gonna let the man do what he wants. He's a grown man. You know, obviously, you always worry about people's health and things like that. But no one's making him do it, so I'm not here to have a petition. I'm just here to say he's one of the greatest fighters of all time. And let me know where you would rank Roy Jones. Was he deserving of greatest fighter of the '90s? Where do you rank him? Top 10, top 20? Let me know.